Welcome to EduTalks Now. Today we have with us Dr. S.P. Agarwal, Director of Green Park Dental Institute, and Dr. Anuj Agarwal, an oral and maxillofacial surgeon practicing since last 2 years. Sir, basically we would like to know your overview about the whole profession of dental sciences, and you have been practicing since 1978. So what has been your experience and contribution in the same profession?
Thank you very much for inviting me. This is one of the best profession in my opinion. Because I grew with it since 1976 when I graduated in 78 when I did masters. And one of the brightest future I have also. But those who have joined with me and those who are joining later on or those who are joining now, I assure them, dentistry is one of the best future. Only thing you have to work, devoted to your profession, work for the society, give your best to the society, and it will come back to you in returns.
Thank you, sir. So now we move on to Dr. Anuj Agarwal. Sir, how scopeful do you think the whole profession of dental sciences is for the youth today?
The profession is, of course, there's a lot of scope still in the profession. No matter how many dentists are joining the world of dentistry every day, the fact remains that the number of patients is always growing with the number of dentists. Everybody needs dental care. As long as people will have teeth in their mouth, they will need care for their teeth. And as more and more people are becoming health conscious, more and more people want to spend time and money taking care of their teeth, the scope of dentistry will be ever increasing. Like sir said rightfully that the more hard work we can put, and that goes for any other profession, the more hard work we put, the more time we spend, and the more honestly we can work, the more we will grow in this profession. So the scope is great. It just requires a little time and a lot of dedication.
Moving on to the next question, what are the various options in this field which can be considered today?
Well, there are two fundamental options. One is staying in India after doing dentistry, and the other is a lot of younger professionals want to move up. So, answering the first part, that is what can a dentist do once he decides to stay in India. That is that either after doing his bachelor's, which is BDS, Bachelor's of Dental Surgery, after BDS he can join master's degree, do MBS, or he can join a private practice. That is work for a senior dentist to learn the finer tricks of the trade and to know better work to expand his horizons. The third thing he or she can do is to open his or her own practice. So that is a difficult yet in long term a good option. And the last option is that there are a lot of government jobs available in dentistry and jobs in big hospitals. So a dentist can do those. Many dentists also exercise another option, which is to go back into the colleges and teach. So these are these 4-5 options that a dentist has. As far as the other aspect is concerned, which is going out, there are many countries which recognize our degrees, where we can just go out and work. And there are many countries which do not recognize our degrees, for which either we have to go and give an exam for our degree to be validated there, or we have to again do a part of dentistry again, either study for 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, depending on different countries' protocol, and then we can practice in those countries. All that depends on how many dentists they need and what is our intention. So these are the two things a person can do after doing degrees.
So basically all those countries which do not recognize a degree, you have to study
Again.
again, and then you have to give a test. Obviously you won't find it quite justifiable, if I'm not wrong, or is it?
No, in the sense that depends on the different countries, the particular demand of dentists over there at that particular time. For example, if America doesn't need any more dentists and you are just hell-bent on going and working there, you will not find your career as satisfying. And then a lot depends on personal decisions. Most of my friends are very, very patriotic. They want to stay in India, want to work in India. That's most of my friends. So they would not want to go outside. So how much is that extra effort and a considerable amount of money is involved in going out and studying? So whether it's justified or not is it's a personal preference. According to me, it's not. According to someone else who really wants to go out and be there, maybe it is.
So I would like to ask you, what has been your experience and your contribution in your field since since 1978? What all contribution?
When I did my masters, I came to All India Institute and we had a very primitive instrumentation and things. Not even institute, we didn't have masters. So we started the master's program here, really. And now we have in most of the subjects. There was no private dental college. Slowly, so many colleges came. And it's a science of development, R&D. We were not even thinking of like implant these days or metal free, new things, which were freely available abroad. So we used to go and attend those conferences there, bring those instruments and start. And the best part in India, what we could do in 1988, we had the first major international conference in India. Then we had another one in 94, 95, 96. 2000 we have CDI, Commonwealth International. And first time we went with our conferences to Latin America. Then again in 2004, we had a World Dental Congress. And you'll be surprised the next year again we had. So when such type of mega event takes place, we are instrumental in bringing those conferences to India. Our generation, those who can't go abroad, young people, they are, like these days, they are having daily dental show. So thousands and thousands of young dentists are coming and seeing the new. So our contribution is to learn more, to teach more, to bring more to our country. And now we are in that stage that we are re-exporting. Like you must have seen in IT and other fields. Now we are giving back to the developed world. Yes, we are up to that level. Dental tourism, medical tourism. How foreigners, knowledge in India, they are coming in India to get their treatment done, which we never thought it about 30 years back. Medical tourism is one of the biggest industries for India, Thailand and China. So we are having our own share. Our contribution is slowly for the better and better.
Not financially that sound, how do one go about his or her own setup in this field, and how well does it pay back?
Alright. So before setup, the first cost in the industry is education itself. Right. So doing BDS and MDS, that is Bachelor's of Dental Surgery and Master's of Dental Surgery, these are the two options we have. Both of them can be done absolutely for free if you qualify to do them in government institutions. Right? So if you give an exam, if you get selected, you do these degrees for free. Rather in MDS, you get paid. All the big hospitals, they pay around 40,000 to 50,000 rupees per month to their residents, which are to the MDS students. So provided you are in that top cream layer who gets selected for these exams, you can very well get paid for doing your education. After that, like I said, you can either join back colleges to teach. So it is financially quite rewarding. The only thing with this option is that after taking 10 years to study, we as medical and dental professionals grow quite impatient. By that, you must, any person willing to pursue this field must know that you start earning by the time you are 27 or 28, which is quite late. Given the fact that you'll be comparing yourself every day with your friends in IT and MBA and other professions. Right? The other option, like I said, if you do not get selected for these colleges, the government colleges where you are going to pursue your BDS and MDS for free, supposing you have to pay for your seat, BDS will cost you around 10 lakh rupees itself, and doing MDS in a private college through a capitation seat, through a donation seat, so called, which now the government is trying to abolish. But for now, it will cost you anywhere around 40 to 50 lakh rupees. So just doing BDS and MBS itself will set you back by around 50 lakh rupees. That's half a crore. After spending this amount of money, you will study for 9 years, like I said. So when you ask me, is it rewarding? Well, you have to be the judge of that. It's a long-term plan. Remember, medicine and dentistry are not short-term plans. These are long-term plans. You spend that kind of money, you get settled into practice by the time you're 31, 32. And by the time you hit middle age, you start making money. So for people who already have some kind of reserve and who can afford to spend that amount of money on education and then start scratch, of course it is rewarding. You see dentists everywhere making a lot of money, but what you tend to forget is that they reach this point after slogging out for like, I would say the warm-up phase lasts for around 10 to 15 years, which is a lot. So that's the problem with both medicine and dentistry right now. Once you reach a fundamental level of achievement, once you have a clinic of your own, once you set up a practice of your own, which itself is quite expensive in the right location, it can be very, very rewarding. Very rewarding.
Okay, so some key points you would like to tell about the BBS course, its importance, duration, good colleges, etc.
Okay. So the BBS course is for 5 years. In these 5 years, the first 4 years are years in which you have to give exams, annual exams, right? And the 5th year, which is called internship, is when you don't have to give any exams, but you just do patients all year round. Now, BDS course is extremely tough if you want to do it right, obviously. Now, there are around more than 19 to 20 very challenging subjects, and the books are massive. The number of books and the size of books are equally daunting. And colleges, professors, viva voice and doing patients in exams, you have to do patients in front of like really, really strict examiners. So on the whole, the process is quite a nerve-wracking. I would definitely not say that BDS is easy, number one. MBS is then takes it up 10 levels higher. So doing BDS and MBS are obviously quite hard. They are not easy. So what tips I would give to someone is that one, like I said before in the previous answer, you should know that it's a slow, difficult process. The rewards are big after a few years. There are no instant rewards. There is no instant gratification. There is no placement service that as soon as you finish your 10 years of studies, some clinic is going to come and pick you up and give you a job. There are thousands of dentists out there with a biodata who, once they find a good job or once they establish a good practice, the rewards are good. But number one, the first step is it's slow. Second, it's hard. Like it's long and it's hard and you'll be missing out on all the fun that your friends are having. Number three, overall, it's a fun profession, it's a respected profession, still. So, a lot of people just do it, people do it just so that they can be called doctors, and then it's not as hard as a medical profession. In terms of working hours, the working hours are quite good, you can work with your choice. Now, to achieve any level of excellence, you need to go to a good college. So, you asked me which are the good institutes. The best institutes are obviously government institutes, right? And what makes them good is basically the number of patients. The first and foremost criteria of judging a dental college is the number of patients that you are going to do. There are some spectacular colleges with the best infrastructure in India, but they are located in offbeat areas. Like to make a massive college right now in Delhi, I would need 7 acres of land, but there is no 7 acres of land in Delhi which will make the project viable. So I will have to go outside it. So when I go to a rural area or a small area where I get large piece of land to make a dental college, there are not many patients there. So the first and foremost criteria is judging is how many patients. So colleges which fare really well are obviously all the government colleges, for which you have to go through the entrance exam. Special mention for Maulana Azhar Delhi. It's a beautiful college. The number of patients is just unbelievable. But then there are 20 seats and there are 2 lakh students giving the exam. Right? Now the criteria for judging a college is teachers, infrastructure, and that all is quite easy to do. You just talk to any local dentist and they will know, like Manipal is an excellent option because infrastructure is good, the number of patients is average. So you have to look at number of patients and infrastructure both together. So there are more than 300 colleges in India right now. Some are really bad, some are just average, and then there are a lot which are very good. So there's a lot of research that goes into this.
And you have been practicing in this profession since last 2 years. So what has been your experience and contribution in this field?
See, being a dentist is not easy in the sense that most people will come to you with pain, right? So you deal with, let's say, human misery at a daily level, right? You have to be a bit of a dentist, bit of a psychologist, bit of a counselor. So that's one thing. Number 2 is that my experience has been good because I work in a really big institute. My experience has been good because I have a lot of seniors who have my back. I have a lot of seniors who teach me every day. So dentistry as a profession is very, very rewarding and fulfilling as long as you know you're doing the right work. If you're not doing the right job, it bites back immediately. There is no margin of error. If you do a service for a patient and you've not done it right, the patient will come back to you next day with pain. So you don't have that kind of margin for error that today you submit a report or you submit an assignment in a multinational company and the CEO doesn't like your work. You have another day of work, you can rectify that. But with you, if the patient doesn't like your work, he will be in severe pain and you just go to another dentist. So there's a lot at stake with every patient. So my experience has been good since I'm in a big practice with a lot of teachers. For everyone, if I could just sort of summarize, dentistry it takes off slowly. So initially there are a lot of hard times, initially there are a lot of hiccups. Once you get established, the experience becomes super good. So that's how it is.
So with this we come to an end. We come to the conversation with Dr. Anuj Agarwal. Thank you.
Thank you.